Good morning. Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So today also we have around 19 students on board. So let's begin. So till now we were talking about the different metabolic pathways. Just 1 minute. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we had been talking about the different metabolism or the metabolic pathways so that the primary requirement of the cell can be met. Okay, and now the primary requirement means what? The normal growth, the development of the cell, then carrying out the different kind of functions which are required throughout the life cycle of the cell. Maybe the last one you can say the reproduction system, etc., etc. So for all these different kind of activities which are required for the cell, you require the energy, and for that energy there are different metabolic pathways which are uh, carried out. Now all these reactions of the metabolic pathways, as we have seen, that they are dependent on the enzymes. Okay, so in other words, what we can say that these enzymes are the one which help the cell to carry out this reaction so that the energy can be obtained, right? And then it can carry out the different activities. So there we have seen the different aspects of the enzymes, that how do these enzymes they help in increasing the rate of the reactions, and the different factors which are going to affect the enzymatic activity, etc., etc. Yes, so we have talked about this in detail. Now this so-called metabolism, what we usually talk about, now that metabolism can be called as what? The primary metabolism. Okay, and the metabolites which are involved into the primary metabolism, they can be called as what? The primary metabolites, right? So this is what in the early days we were aware of, but as the science has progressed, people they came across that there are some additional metabolites which could be present into an organism. Okay, but these metabolites, they are not directly related to the normal growth, development, or the reproduction of that particular organism. So from that particular point, we started talking about the metabolites, which could be called as what? The secondary metabolites. Right? So just to bring to your notice that we will be talking about the secondary metabolites which are present into the organisms. Right? Now, we know that there are different types of the organisms. There are different living forms which are present onto the organism. Now, the question might come that is it that all the life forms which are present onto the earth, they are producing such kind of secondary metabolites? Or is it restricted to some specific organisms, some specific species, some specific families, etc., etc.? Okay, so maybe the initial 1 or 2 lectures will be having some general kind of discussion about the secondary metabolites, and then we'll start with the actual topics which will help us to understand that what are these secondary metabolites, how they are synthesized, what kind of specific role do they play into that particular organism. Now, the question which I told you, the first thing we should solve, that is it that these so-called secondary metabolites, they are produced by all the life forms which are present onto the earth? So can you people tell me your opinion? Yeah, I want some answers. What do you say? Yes, can anyone tell me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what for? Yes, for what?
So they are produced by living organisms, but their role is unknown, function is unknown, or they are not involved in direct development or growth.
That is fine, that I have told you also, but then is it that all organisms they are producing it? Yes, you might have learned about the classification, no? Prokaryote, eukaryote. Within that, you have the animal system, the plant system, you have the insects, and etc. Come on, talk speaking. Yes, Komal, what do you say, Darekar? I don't want to be too specific. Each one of you can try. You should simply unmute yourself and give me the answers. Yeah, the first question, is it that it is produced by all the life forms?
Yes, sir. Produce.
Okay, she is saying it should be produced. Now the next question comes, that why is that all of them they are producing these secondary metabolites? Sakshi? Yeah, Sakshi, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Just give me the answer. Why they could be producing?
So exact answer,
I don't want the exact answers. You have to try your logic and give me the answers. That why these secondary metabolites are produced by the all life forms. Yes. Even I don't know the exact answers, but still I'm trying to tell you. Come on, be fast. Whatever you know, whatever comes to your mind, you should tell that things. Yes, Shivani. Come on, don't be so much silent. Shivani, are you there? Sonam. Sonam. I think I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I think for Shivani and Sonam, I'm not audible.
Yes, sir.
What yes, sir? Give me the answers. Come on, be fast. Sonam Pawar. Snehal Chauhan. See, it's a very, very basic thing I am asking you. And it has to be a general knowledge that you are aware of these things. Yes, Snehal Chauhan. I'm making a
Yes.
note who are not answering my questions. Yeah, Snehal Bola. Why they could be producing these secondary metabolites? Yes, Nikita. Nikita.
Don't know, sir.
Hmm?
Don't know, sir.
Don't know. Okay, Priyanka.
No, sir.
Good. Vaishnavi.
So they are required for the interaction with environment.
Okay, for example. Yes, Vaishnavi. What kind of interactions you want to say? This formation of the covalent bond or the non-covalent bonds?
So they protect organism from UV damage or like.
Okay. Shraddha. Yes, Shraddha.
Sir, no,
Huh?
don't know, sir.
How come you people don't know? I'm really surprised. Yes, Rajeshwari.
So,
Hmm?
no, so they are produced to confirm a selective advantage to the organism. For example, they may inhibit the growth of organism with which they compete.
Okay, good. Anything else? Yes, Rajeshwari. Shruti.
Sir, I think the secondary metabolite performs protective, adaptive, or defensive roles.
Okay, very good. So it was so simple. Obviously, if you are calling them as secondary, they might be having some secondary role. A secondary role means what? They could not be directly involved into the normal growth, development, and the reproduction of that organism. Fine. But if they are produced, they might be having some other kind of roles. Now, what are those other kind of roles? So, as she has mentioned, that it could be for adaptation, it could be for protection, it could be for maybe the indirect help for their reproduction, etc., etc. Right. So these secondary metabolites, they have some secondary roles. Okay. Now, knowing this, And that there are examples you can quote here, like the competition with the other organisms. If one particular organism it has to grow, so it should be able to inhibit the growth of the other organism. One simple example you can quote here is about the antibiotic production. So some of the microorganisms they produce the antibiotics, and these antibiotics they inhibit the growth of the other organism. So that is a type of a protection, what you can say. Then someone told about that the you require the protection from UV light. So for that you have some specific pigments which are produced. Then for reproduction, in specifically in case of the plants. So if the reproduction has to take place, the pollen grains from one plant should be transferred to the other plant. So then only the pollination process can take place. And for this they require the help of some insects. So to attract those particular insects, they might be produced so that the pollination process can take place. So like this, there are n number of examples which we may come across uh, where these secondary metabolites they play an important role. Okay, but as we have defined it, that they do not have any specific role into the normal growth, development, and reproduction of that organism. Means what? That even if these compounds are not present, the normal growth can take place, but they are required. Now the next question comes. Now could be that these secondary metabolites are produced by all the life forms. So we are considering that it is produced by the all the life forms. Now within these life forms, is it that all the organisms which are present onto the earth, whether all of them they are producing the same type of the secondary metabolites? Is it that they are produced in the same amount in all the organisms? Yes. Can someone tell me this? Yeah. What do you say, Vidya?
Yes, sir.
The answer.
The rate of synthesis of secondary metabolite is different in different life forms.
Okay. So can you elaborate? Can you give some examples where you think so that these specific organisms might be producing it at a higher concentration, these are producing at lower concentration, etc., etc. Something.
In plants, the rate of secondary metabolites is high
Okay.
against the herbicides, pests.
Okay. Okay. Fine. What do Pradnya want to say here?
So different rates.
Try to give it with an example. No. See, you're not that small that you should simply giving one word answer. You should be elaborative. Your thinking process should be on now. Now you got an idea that what we are going to talk or what we are talking now. We are talking about the secondary metabolites which are required for some specific secondary roles. And you know these things. You have the examples in your mind, but simply you have to bring them out. Yeah, tell me now. So is it produced in all the organisms, the same type of the compounds or the metabolites, or they are produced at the same rate in all the organisms?
So different rate in all organisms.
हम्म. थोडं एक्झाम्पल देऊन सांगा ना. If I'm asking a question, the question should not be rolled back to me. You're supposed to answer those questions. Come on, be fast. Tejal, Tejal, are you there? अरे कोणी बोलेल का?